We're talking about Foo Fighters.
Here we are. We will know you. No, that's it. Stupid Alanis Morissette. Their stupid ass music. So terrible. Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and well, that's pretty much it. So let's go. Oh, hey. The bears, don't me.
Didn't even get the words right. The words right. All right, this is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist, and we break down one of their records. We get into the music, the lyrics, how it was made, the band members, and everything in between. My name is Tyler. Way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. While you're listening, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, and 5 stars only, please, only 5 stars. All the social media is at Asinine Radio, so get into that. And let's jump right into it, Jeff. What are we doing today?
Fuck, I forgot the name of the album. We're doing the Foo Fighters' newest album, and it's called "But Here We Are."
Oh, it's so bad. Spoiler. This is gonna be a tough one. This is gonna be a tough one this week. So, what's your with Foo Fighters? What's your origin story with this band? Go.
It's just the typical fucking absolute cheesy, right? Filler, and the title is coming right up in 1 second here, right now. It's so terrible.
This band deserves it. Honestly, this album deserves that, I should say.
Because that's what this band is. It's just filler. So
filler, vanilla, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
So yeah, origin story. What do you got?
So my origin story is like most bands and stuff is camp, and it was kind of fun because when we did Fugazi, there was a guy that liked the Foo Fighters a lot for many years, loved them. He actually got a tattoo on the back of his neck, like the one from "There's Nothing Left to Lose."
Oh, that is so cheesy.
But I always thought that Fugazi and the Foo Fighters were the same band in regards to that guy. So when we did Fugazi, because there was 2 guys. There was one guy that loved the Foo Fighters and there's one guy that loved Fugazi. And I thought they were both the same band. So when we did Fugazi, I was like, God damn, dude. That other dude was really fucking cool because Fugazi's an amazing band. But Foo Fighters is absolute shit. So anyway, camp is my introduction to them. And specifically Times Like These. That was an early song that I learned how to play on the guitar because we played it at camp a lot. And so that was, I still love that song. I absolutely fucking love it. I haven't heard it in a long time until this week, but I'm going to get back into it because it's a banger of a song.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Banger.
Times Like These is for sure my introduction. And that's probably why I ranked One by One as my number 1 album, because I've probably listened to that album in its entirety more than any other Foo Fighters album. And that's only
I could see that
2 or 3 times anyway, so it's not that much.
Because that album does have a couple other absolute bangers too. Beyond bangers, some might say.
All My Life is their best song. I'm just saying.
It is. I mean, but Low is too.
Low's a good one.
That double whammy right there, the first 2 songs right there, All My Life into Low, forget about it. Okay, so that's your origin story. It's Times Like These. Mine is is Learn to Fly. Specifically the music video to Learn to Fly. Being up late at night, watching MTV, the VCR at the ready to record a video that I really love or that I really like, and that video came on with Tenacious D in it. Kyle Gass and Jack Black are in it. The video is so over the top. It's funny, and I thought it was so great. And I only got half the video recorded because it was VHS. I only got half the video recorded because I'd never seen it before, and then I waited, and then the next night I waited for a couple hours for it to come on again. And it did, and I got the whole video, and I just watched that video endlessly, on loop. And then friend of the pod, Sean, got really into it too, and we were obsessed with that video and Foo Fighters for a very, very short period of time. So that's my origin story is that specific song. And then I've always followed them throughout the years, and I've always checked out a new record when it's come out. Obviously, some have been, or most of them have been misses. A couple of hits here and there, like
all
one by
of them
one.
are misses.
In Your Honor, solid. But outside of those two records, I mean, who cares? Singles are great. The singles are fantastic most of the time. But the rest of the albums are filler, just honestly filler. And that's this band. And my first impressions, real quick, that's what this album is. But here we are, it's a filler record. There's barely anything here. What are your first impressions on it?
So I do want to, because it's funny. I think it's something that's lost on kids today, but when you recorded all the best music videos on your VHS tape, and like you had multiple VHS tapes, right? You had like your fucking metal one, and like your punk one, and your pop one, right?
I have. I mean, they're literally sitting in a tub still.
You still have them?
I still have all of them. I probably have like close. I probably have close to 40.
That's
tapes.
A fucking episode, dude. That's a pod episode right there, dude.
I probably have close to 40 VHS tapes that hold roughly 6 to 8 hours on each of them.
Yeah,
just full of music videos, TV shows from that time period, from like 1997, 1998 up through, 1997 through probably 2004. Just music videos, TV shows, movies, mostly music videos and TV shows. But yeah, dude, I recorded so much shit back then because that was the only way you could rewatch it. There was no, I mean, you had Real Player, you had these various websites, but that shit would take hours just to buffer one music video. When I just turned on my VHS, and then I had it to where my VHS tapes, each one was in like a little paper holder, or whatever, you know what I mean? That they come in, those plastic paper holders. And I had every one of those tapes had a piece of paper in that holder as well that showed you exactly what was on the tape and the timestamp on it.
Absolutely.
That's how meticulous I was with it. Because
I was the same way. I had my hip hop one, I had like my pop punk one, I had my just generic rock, and then I had like the new metal one. Mm-hmm. And like the hip hop one was always a little bit more because MTV was super great about playing like a full block hour of just like hip hop music videos and stuff.
True.
And so like I would just tape the whole fucking thing. What was that show called? Like it was it called Def Jam?
Was it? I don't remember.
Whatever.
I wasn't. I mean, I really didn't like hip hop at the time, so I either watched TRL or I watched 120 Minutes was on Headbangers Ball on Saturdays, and then or whatever was on late at night. After 10 o'clock when they would switch over to music videos all night, or after 11 depending on what day it was. Whatever they'd show, I'd watch. So that was my life, dude.
That was it.
Fucking MTV, man.
No, it was Yo MTV Raps. Yo MTV Raps.
Oh yes. Damn.
Yeah, that was
so good, man. But yeah, so that's my origin story. Oh wait, no, we already talked about. Why are we talking about VHS tapes?
Because you brought it up of taping. Whatever the fuck you taped.
Why did I bring it up? I don't know.
Oh, the
Learn to Fly video.
Learn to Fly video.
The Learn to Fly video. Yeah. So yeah, that right there is my origin story. And then I said my first impressions, how this album's a filler, and what is your first impression? That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay. So like on going into this album, it's going to be heavy on the emotional side, right? Yeah. Taylor Hawkins died. His mom died. Like we knew that going in. And I think just in general, when we dive into some of these albums, I like them a little bit more because you can kind of pick up on the nuance. And this one, like musically, it was kind of like mid-range. Lyrically, it was kind of mid-range. But the feel was still there. From beginning to end, there was a certain feel. And it's sad to say, but it's a little bit cheesy. Like tapping into that emotional spot of sadness. It's easy. It's kind of like low-hanging fruit, right? But there's still a feel. And I think they did a really good job at making a cohesive album that was very... They kind of like explored all the facets of like somebody dying in your life, right? From like the denial to the acceptance to the final like, well, it's going to happen to me too. Like it was kind of cool. Like conceptually, it was kind of cool.
I will say conceptually it was good. Overall, the lyrics though were pretty disappointing. I really expected more, honestly. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why I expected more.
I expected less. I got
really
more than
okay.
I got more than I bargained for in this one.
I mean, considering all the stuff that happened with, like you said, with Taylor and his mom dying within a year span, I just thought there would be something more. you said the feeling is there, and that I agree with. But the lyrics are just they're so basic. They're not. There's nothing that shows like there's nothing specific there. There's no like crazy metaphors. There's nothing like that. It's just like
no.
I don't know.
But it's what he does with them though. It's what he does with them. It's how he portrays these generic lyrics, and generic lyrics aren't always like a bad thing. But if you're gonna have generic lyrics, you better have a good way to integrate it into your music. And I don't think the music here is great. I don't think the lyrics are great, but I think the way he integrates these generic lyrics into this generic music is actually kind of great.
That works well. Yeah, it just rounds out the vanilla-ness of the record. That's really what it is.
But there's a lot of good stuff here.
There are only two standout songs, one of which I think is an absolute banger. The other one is not even a banger, but it's still a standout track because it's so different.
Okay.
I'll just say it since it's not a banger. The last song, The Teacher, it's a cool song in theory and how it plays out and the way it rounds out the record lyrically, musically. That song to me talks about the big three deaths in his musical career. Taylor Hawkins, his mom, obviously, so close to Taylor Hawkins' death, and then Kurt too. There are moments where the lyrics kind of talk about all three of them because Kurt was also a teacher to him too, even though it was 30 years ago now. Kurt was kind of a teacher to him, along with his mom and Taylor to an extent, and the up and like the highs and the lows of that song, like that song is very kind of slow, acoustic based, and then all of a sudden it drops into this extremely abrasive, static kind of just wall of noise that reminds me a lot of what you hear off of In Utero. That's how In Utero is. Not that as abrasive because it's more put together. It's better put together than this song, but it has that tone, and that's where I picked up the Nirvana thing from, was when it drops into that part, kind of in the bridge, the middle part of it.
No, it's that's 10 really fucking minutes long.
Yeah, it's a 10. Yeah.
Like,
well, no, not the last song. The last song is 5.
The last song is Rest. The Teacher is 10 minutes long.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got this.
Don't be sorry. Just make sure you get the names correctly. I don't want you to be sorry. I'm
talking about Rest.
Gotcha.
Rest is the song I'm talking about.
Rest is my 2B.
That is okay. That
I only
is the
have
song.
2Bs.
I have 3 Bs. Yeah, I have 3 Bs. Okay, so Rest is the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, I agree. I think dude, when you strip like things down like this, you don't need like a super strong melody, and I think that's something that Foo Fighters struggle with constantly, is just being able to come up with really, really strong melodies. Like you can just take any fucking song from like Nevermind by Nirvana, and it's, you know what I mean? It's instantly catchy. It's instantly recognizable. Like you can hum it as soon as you're done listening to it, even if it's the first time. The Foo Fighters rarely achieve that kind of notoriety. They rarely ever get like a melody stuck in your head the moment you hear it. And this one, you don't need it though, because as long as you're just singing to an acoustic guitar, you're following the strum pattern or chord progression, or just like the overall vibe of the song, it's just easy to get into. Mm-hmm. But this one does have a decent melody because it follows that progression. It's easy to get into. It's a perfect closer. And it's obviously like the closing song was going to be this because of the subject material, because of what we've been talking about throughout the previous 9 songs about death and all that stuff. So we knew this was coming, right? We knew it was going to end on an acoustic song. But that's the Foo Fighters. They're a rock band, so they got to like plug in and have that, bring that heaviness a little bit. And I get that. I like it. But the best part for me was the ending. The ending doesn't resolve. It has a progression, and that last note, right? You think that last note's going to hit and it doesn't resolve. Very, very Only in Dreams there, dude.
Oh, there we go.
Telling you, that was fucking dope. I liked that a lot. I thought that was really cool. And I thought just that went in line with like the overall concept of the album, especially on this one too. It was just, dude, just no resolution. When somebody dies, when people die, you just don't get resolution. And you're not supposed to. It's fucking the way it is. And that was really cool.
True. That's true. I like that too. It's never resolved. It's a good song. It's a good song in theory. Like what it's trying to convey is is good, is cool, is it's cool, but the way it was presented and played, I didn't like. It wasn't a fun listen, or it wasn't a thought provoking listen. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I think it's more.
I feel like he also tried a little too hard. So like we were talking about, it's him and an acoustic guitar, but it's run through like a filter, both his vocals and guitar, to make it sound like he's playing on like old equipment, like something that was recorded back in the 60s or something like that. But you can't fool me. You can't fool me. I know it's not. It doesn't sound like that. You're trying to sound like that, but you're not recording on equipment from the 1960s on tape to make it sound like that. It's just not going to happen. So I thought that was a little.
It's cheesy.
It's cheesy, definitely cheesy.
Because he's trying to hide it. Like it reminded me at first when I was listening to it. It reminded me of "Meet Me in Montauk" by Circa. How that's got that kind of the same vibe, but like Circa's doing it on purpose, and it's so over the top, and so it's endearing and it's fun and it's cute. Here, I did feel like he was trying to hide it a little bit, and I just don't think everybody. I don't think there's any Foo Fighter fan out there, even like Fairweather fan, that doesn't think that the acoustic version of Everlong is their best song ever. Like, we know you can do it, dude. Just do it. Just
You're
fucking
capable.
do
like,
it.
If Dave Grohl just did a strictly acoustic record, 2 mics, just a mic on his acoustic guitar, a mic for his voice, and that's it. Like, and even just like an isolated booth. It doesn't even have to be like some, in a church, like, some crazy location, just in a fucking isolation booth. Just recording it like that, like he did with Everlong and like he did with the acoustic version of Times Like These. Just absolutely stripped down. Maybe a tiny little bit of reverb, but really stripped down.
It would fucking slay.
It would just be incredible. Fucking incredible. Like, that would have been way more effective than this record. I mean, he would have been able to convey so many more emotions because he wouldn't need to hide behind anything. He would have to actually like step up and almost like prove why he's feeling this way. Like, instead of hiding behind the band. This is all really bad to say, and actually in kind of bad taste, because I mean, his best friend died.
I know it's fucking sad, but
yeah, I won't go further. It's not in good taste.
But honestly, I fucking hate shit talking the Foo Fighters because Dave Grohl.
I do too.
Honestly, one of the greatest frontmen rock stars of all time. Just like he's up there with DLR. He's up there with everybody else. He's fucking up there. But it doesn't excuse your shoddy music, and I think he hides behind. a lot of things because he's not a great like lead cast. You know what I mean? He's a great supporting artist, but he's just not a great lead cast. And I think he does a lot of things okay, and he does things that are great sometimes, and that's propelled him and allowed him to have this career that is fucking unbelievable to me. How popular the Foo Fighters are in relation to how their music is just not that great. But he's always in the shadows of somebody else. He's always in like the footsteps of somebody else. And I don't think he's ever really come out and done anything that's been great, except for the things that he does on his own. The Dream Widow, the Probot. It's like, dude, like what the fuck? Like this stuff is better than anything you've ever fucking done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, really.
Like why? Like why do you limit yourself in the Foo Fighters to just like mediocrity? And it's almost like a performance thing. You know what I mean? It's almost like he feels bad or he's like unsure of himself. When he's the lead guy, he's like, I can't perform as well as I can. And when I'm not the lead guy, and like in Probot, like he's the lead guy there, but it was kind of like a joke thing. And the Dream Widow thing, that's also kind of like a joke thing. And when he's doing drums for everybody else, he's not the lead guy there. He's just kind of filling in, doing what he loves. But with Foo Fighter, the spotlight's on him, and I don't think he can perform because he's better than this. Honestly, Dave Grohl's better than the Foo Fighters.
He really is, and I think with Foo Fighters, I think it's a bit of insecurity too. Like I think you kind of touched upon that too. It's a bit of insecurity where he doesn't want to fail in front of so many people, and as the band grows every year, you know, they just keep getting more popular. There's never really a lull in the Foo Fighters. They just play bigger venues, bigger shows, more people love them, and I feel like that pressure has a huge effect on how he writes music for this band because I feel like he tries too hard to create pop, like good melody or a good pop rock song or whatever it may be, you know, like it really, the fame has hindered his songwriting, his vocals, his guitar playing, and everything like that. Because he's a fucking solid guitar player too. Like we've seen him live. We've seen Foo Fighters live a couple times.
He's an amazing guitarist.
Great fucking guitar player. I mean, he's an incredible musician.
He has a great voice too.
Yes, he does. He does. But I think that some of it has to come down to confidence in being so famous that it hinders your songwriting. It's like we talked about with Mark from Blink. He's actually come out and said, you know, I'm so afraid that I'm going to write a bad song that I just don't write music. Like Dave Grohl, I feel like feels that same way, but feels obligated to write more music for whether it's because of the record labels or whoever, you know. I feel like he has those same issues, but he just still goes through with it, even if it's like mediocre results.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
That's sad.
Because I mean the other things we mentioned. I mean, obviously amazing in Nirvana. I mean, he's one of my favorite drummers of all time. Top 3 drummer. 100%. What he did with Nirvana, what he did with Queens of the Stone Age on both of those records, on Songs for the Deaf and like Clockwork. I know he didn't do all the drums on that record, but he did most of the songs on that record. The Probot record, the Dream Widow record, those albums right there are just, they're drum wise, they're flawless. Them Crooked Vultures, I have a hard time getting into that band, but all the other stuff, man, all that other stuff is just fucking incredible.
There has to be like in I don't know, doing a Foo Fighters podcast is going to end up at some point talking about Nirvana, talking about Kurt Cobain, talking about the effect that the death had on him. But I think being in a band that breaks up and then transitioning to a new band is one thing. But when you're in a band like Nirvana and they break up because of a death, like Nirvana's a different ballgame, dude. That's a different monster. That has to still continuously wear on him. Like he has to think about that constantly. Even when they're done with the album and they submit it, it's like, okay, we are officially done with it. He has to fucking think about this. Like, how would have Kurt wrote these songs? How could I have wrote these songs better to be as great as Nirvana? Because like, what's the point of being in the fucking band if you don't want to be like as good as your idols? And like Dave Grohl idolized Kurt. Like just they're
without
contemporaries, but he idolized them because they're fucking friends and he idolized them. So it has to wear on him. And I think just that constant wear, man, it sucks. Like that's no way to live. Like that's just, that's brutal. So I think he's always chasing that spotlight. I think that's why he overcompensates, which I don't want to say he overcompensates like a bad thing. Cause I think he's a genuinely really, really, really nice guy. He just seems like a fucking cool dude. I've never read anything where people say, oh, Dave Grohl's a douchebag. He just seems like a cool guy. And even when he doesn't want to talk to people, he makes it known. Like, hey, I don't want to talk to you guys. And then he'll just walk away. You know what I mean? Like, at least he says
I don't want
something.
to give autographs because this is why I don't want to give autographs.
Yeah, and it's like, who the fuck even does that? Like, that's, come on, dude. Like, people just will say, yeah, fuck you, I don't want to sign autographs. Like, Dave Grohl's just a nice guy. But I think he's always going to be chasing that, I don't know, that second spot underneath Kurt. And that's sad.
After Tragic. The only negative thing I've ever read about him really has been the guy Franz Stahl, who played guitar with Foo Fighters for a short period of time, but he was also in the band Scream with Dave as well. But he was in Foo Fighters from like 95 to 96, just before Chris came on board. And Franz was the only one who ever said anything negative about Dave. But even then, it wasn't like, he's an absolute piece of shit. He just kind of said, with the way I was let go from the band was kind of shady. And even Dave Grohl, like right after that, he's like, yeah, I've always regretted how we fired him from the band. Like he still feels that regret from doing that. Because they grew up, because they were like friends and shit. Like they grew up together and all that kind of shit. But really, that's the only person I've ever heard talk shit about him. But then it's also a thing too that made me realize this week that Dave Grohl is known more as a drummer and for being a really nice guy. That's what he's best known for. He's not.
But the drumming thing's not fair though, because he was a drummer for fucking Nirvana. If he was a drummer for Soundgarden, like nobody would fucking ever know him.
Well, because the songs aren't there. The songs just
exactly because he was a drummer for one of the biggest bands that has ever existed. That's why he will never be anything but the drummer from Nirvana, who also was in the Foo Fighters.
But I agree with you on that. But my point that I was making was that He's better known as a drummer and a very nice guy from both fans and also from other musicians, especially musicians. You never hear musicians talk about how great Foo Fighters are. It's always, Dave is so great. He's such an amazing drummer, incredible drummer. He's such a nice guy. We did this and that. He did this for me. It's rarely a positive thing they say about Foo Fighters. It's always positive about his drumming and him as a person. And that's it. Like, you really think about it and go back into interviews and things like that. It's never about Foo Fighters, or it's rarely about Foo Fighters. And same with fans. Fans are the same way too. It's always about how great Dave is. It's one of those two things. And that's really telling about his character and also about this band. Because the band's not that good. They're really not that good. I feel like a lot of people have been duped. People who say Foo Fighters, oh my God, they're my favorite band. That's fine. They're your favorite band. My favorite band is Korn. I'm stupid. I get it. I realize it. I'll say I'm stupid. But Foo Fighters fans, they've all been duped. They really have.
But I feel like
because he is such a nice guy and an incredible drummer.
Even when you say like Korn is your favorite band, I think the vast majority of Korn is just absolute garbage, and very much like the Foo Fighters sounds the same. But Korn's Korn is a decade music defining like album. Like it did something that like no other thing had ever done, will ever do again. And it's actually a really, really good record. But like Foo Fighters have never even achieved anything remotely close to that.
No. There's nothing about the Foo Fighters that was genre defining, that did anything special, that you can really say, oh my God, that's the Foo Fighters. Like they don't have a signature sound. They've never had a signature sound. People only know Foo Fighters because the Chili Peppers is a bad example. They're only a good example in the fact that they are so overplayed on radio and at the time MTV and VH1 that's why so many people know about them, because they're so easy to Foo Fighters are so easy to promote on these radio stations because they're so safe. It's like safe. Foo Fighters are the band also where people who don't like heavy music, they like Foo Fighters because that's the heavy band they like. Like they're the heavy band for people who don't like heavy music.
They overdrive their guitars. Dude. They do heavy stuffs. And I think you're right. I think like people who don't listen to heavy music, who are coming from like maybe just gonna generalize people, but when they're coming from like the Taylor Swift kind of sound and then getting into the new Foo Fighters, it's like, oh wow, this is super fucking heavy. It's like, yeah, it is super heavy compared to what you're listening to, but like it's still not. They're not a heavy band. They don't do heavy songs.
Yeah,
they just sound like they're heavy, but that's fine. It's a gateway thing. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah, I get it too.
But it still doesn't make it good.
Like Blink is one of those bands too. Blink and Green Day, they're a commercially acceptable band. Like people who aren't into punk music, they're a gateway band. You hear Blink or Green Day, and you're like, oh my God, they're really good. I love punk music. They're my favorite punk band. But because you haven't heard everything else, you haven't heard other bands in the genre. You haven't heard Vandals or Bouncing Souls or NoFX, Bad Religion, nothing like that. Misfits even, it's just like because you haven't heard that and your first introduction is Blink. I get it. They're a gateway band.
That's what we talked about the Rancid. Like why we respected Rancid so much was because Rancid is doing something for the punk community that not many bands do still to this day. And people are getting into Rancid and hey, now I'm going to go check out this other super unknown fucking underground punk band that sounds like shit, but I will get into them because Rancid told me to. That's fine.
Because Rancid told me to.
That's fine.
So we talked about Rest, which was your 2B. Okay, so do you have any stinkers on this record?
I don't have any stinkers. I only have 2 bangers, and everything else is just straight okay songs.
I'm the same. I have no stinkers. I have three bangers, but really 2 of them are only because of Dave's drum performance. But really that's it. Otherwise the songs are okay, whatever. All right. So what's your 1B?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
At all, dude. Wait, where does that? Which song is that?
Well, that's not a banger then.
It's not.
That's the 6th. That's the 6th song.
Okay, I found it.
Right in the middle.
It's so sad.
Yeah. Nothing at all.
So the song is nothing at all.
I like this song, dude. I like this riff. I think this is one of those like I don't know, kind of heavier dance tracks Dave's got a good scream on it, and it's not overly used. I think it's a perfect contrast of like the light verses to the heavy chorus. The Foo Fighters love to fucking do. And then Dave's drumming matches everything perfectly. The open hi-hats on like the same action as the guitar. Dude, I thought that was great. And it builds up to that later chorus. And the later chorus is just so goddamn good because everybody comes in so fucking loud, so hard, so obnoxious. It's good stuff.
I did like the build up in the choruses over time because really the intro and the verses are just like that kind of very straightforward beat. The guitar, everything is pretty stripped down. Overall, the song is pretty stripped down, which is something that they don't normally do on their records. There's always kind of like this wall of guitars. So it's kind of nice hearing a song actually kind of breathe. And you can actually hear the keyboard cut through on here. Rami, the keyboardist who, all the other records, he's been on every record after In Your Honor. Or maybe he was on In Your Honor as well. I don't know. But he's pretty much been on every record since. And it wasn't until this record where I began to really hear his
he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything. But on this record, there are very stripped down songs like this song, dude, and a couple other songs where you could hear the soundscapes. You can hear the piano sometimes, the keyboard that actually stands out. Like a lot of the times in Foo Fighters, the pianos are so buried in the mix that it's just like, why even have it in here? Why? I don't get it. Like, piano already sounds lame in rock songs. I mean, really, it sounds really lame in rock songs.
That's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, that's an exception, of course, but you're also talking about objectively, one of the greatest rock songs ever written.
It's true.
But overall, piano in rock songs is pretty generic and boring.
Piano's not rock. Sorry,
no.
John.
Regina Spektor, on the other hand.
Oh, she's the greatest.
The greatest, yes. But yeah, otherwise, this song is pretty basic to me. The only thing I really like about it is how stripped down it is.
Okay.
For the band.
That's
but otherwise,
fine. All right.
It's basic, man. Even the beat. There's some busier, greater moments that Dave has on the drums.
But I don't think anything sounded this. I don't know how to even put it. It was just that's how I phrased it. It was danceable. Like, it's a dance track. It's something like Hot Heat would have fucking done.
Okay.
It's danceable and weird. It's not typical Foo Fighters All My Life sounding. It's I don't know. It's a little bit weird, a little bit quirky.
Because it's not that typical 4 on the floor kind of beat. There are some flourishes and nuances to Dave's playing on the drums.
Yeah.
Pretty much when I found myself when I was writing out all my notes, I would talk so much about Dave's drumming, but I would always say Dave's parts or Dave's this, Dave's doing this, and I'm rarely ever talking about his vocals or guitar playing.
Which is
unless I specifically say Dave's guitar playing or singing. I'm only talking about his drums.
It's funny because the best and worst part of this album is Dave. Like, the best part of this album is the drumming, and the worst part is the fucking vocal parts.
Yes. Which we didn't even mention because, at the beginning of the episode we should have mentioned, but Dave Grohl plays all the drums on this record. Since Taylor's death, he plays the drums. Even though Josh Freese is the drummer now, Dave played it. So, whatever. There you go. But otherwise, nothing at all. There's really nothing at all here for me.
That's fine.
So,
okay.
It's fine. It's a fine song.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
What do you have lyrically on this one?
I thought this one, I think every single song was about death in some capacity. I thought this one was kind of sad because it shows us that Dave is still left with these questions, right? That when we talked about earlier, when people die, you're left with questions like, could I have done this? Should I have done this? And those questions they're not going to get answered. It's just not going to fucking happen. And you don't get that closure. And that's why I love the way Rest ends without that closure, which is cool. It's very, very real. You don't get that closure. And I thought nothing at all was a way for him to say what he's left with. This is what I'm left with is nothing at all. Kind of almost like he's angry. You know what I mean? Like he's mad, he's irritated, he's pissed off at Taylor and his mom, and that's a fucking normal response when people die. Is you're mad at the person that died. That happens.
And I feel like there's a lot of denial here too, denial in Taylor's death, also his mother's death, because like we talked about, his mother died within the same year Taylor died. So
that's
rough.
That's brutal, dude.
So God, man, like you're like one of your best friends, your bandmate, somebody you spend almost every day with, and your mom it's so close together. It's just, I mean, Taylor's death, it sucks. It's really sad. I get it. But I mean, the guy lived fast for almost his entire life. Like that shit's going to catch up to you.
It's
I understand
sad, but not surprising.
Yeah, exactly. Dude's in his early 50s. Dude, when his toxicology came back, dude, opioids,
everything.
benzos. Yeah, literally almost everything. Antidepressants. Just, come on, man. Come on. That many, those uppers and those, well, it was pretty much all downers. But still, come on. 50-something years old, and you're still living that fast? Come on, man. Come on.
And it's even more
going to catch up with you.
So bizarre because like I mean, according to everything Dave said over the years, he's never really done drugs outside of the age of like 20 or 21. Like he just stopped doing it because people around him were dying. And so like it's just,
I get it.
Like he's not quite on the same level as like Zappa was, where he's just super strict about it. But I don't know, like.
But the guy still likes to party. Like it's so. I think it's fun to see how much he still likes to party and barbecue and hang out and, you know, have some drinks. Like what record was it? I don't think it was this one. It was one of the other records. Later records. He pretty much he went to some isolated cabin or house or something like that, bought a case of wine for like over 2 days and just drank it all and wrote songs. That's all he did.
Yeah.
That's all he did. It's just like, dude, man, you're like in your 50s and you're doing this shit.
He
like
really does just like to fucking hang out and party. During the California wildfire, remember he was out there barbecuing for all the firefighters?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty fucking crazy. It's cool. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But it shows just how like normal of a guy he is because, you know, most guys at that age are like that, you know? It's like they're not like excessive drinkers. They're not excessive anything, but they just like to have a good time, and that's how they have a good time. Like that's how most people are. Most people aren't like these junkies
with the bros.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how he is. And I think that's where people can relate to him so well, is that he seems like your dad. Like he seems like an everyday kind of guy. And that's where I feel that's why people love him so much. But whatever. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, lyrically on this one, I feel like this is just a lot about the denial that comes with the grieving process. And you touched upon it earlier. The grieving process is pretty much what this whole album is about. That's kind of the theme of this entire record, is the grieving process of Dave Grohl. So this might as well be a Dave Grohl solo project.
Dude,
honestly.
I wish, like, I get the Foo Fighters are like an entity. They're a band. There are other people in the band. But I really wish this would have been like a Dave Grohl only album. If he played every instrument, if he did everything on this album himself, like that's what I really would have loved to hear.
He might as well. I mean, let's just get into the other guys real quick.
Yeah.
So, or for a little bit, I should say, not real quick, but for a little bit probably. So this specific record, Dave played guitar on it. He sang on it. He wrote the lyrics on this record. He played all the drums, all the percussion on this one.
Produced it.
He co-produced it. And the other guys, they played rhythm guitar. There's some lead guitar here, but like on the songs, there's a little bit of lead guitar, but it's so basic, so ordinary, and it's so buried in the mix because there's just layer after layer and layer of guitar. You know, regular guitars, baritone guitars to get every fucking kind of frequency, and it's exhausting, man.
It is.
And
it's silly.
It's just like, you don't need it. You don't need 3 guitar players. You don't need 2 regular guitar players and then a baritone guitar, especially in a live setting, like where you can't really hear that nuance. Like, why does Pat Smear's only in the band because he's a friend. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Really, that's the only reason why he's in the band. It's like sometimes when you watch him live, you're like, dude, is your guitar even plugged in? Is the volume even on? Yeah, like what? Because he's just, God, there's no reason for it. Like, really, Chris is there to fill out what Dave is doing, but there's really no reason for Chris either. He doesn't really add much to it. He plays
at least he had to like kind of audition, right? Like there was like,
well, true, yeah,
somewhat of a thing. So
yeah, Pat was just like, hey, what's going on, guys? I'm just kind of here to hang out. oh yeah, I'll play on a song. Oh yeah, I'll start touring with you again. Oh yeah, I'll be a full-time member again.
What a gig.
You go from the Germs, like the worst fucking punk band, almost as bad as the Sex Pistols. I would honestly, actually, the Germs are worse than the Sex Pistols. I dislike them. I hate them more than I hate Sex Pistols. The Germs are fucking terrible. Darby Crash, I don't get why people like Darby Crash. I do not understand it. Never understood it. Goes from the Germs, goes to the touring guy in Nirvana. Like, why? Just to fill out the sound? Like, that's really all Pat is there for. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like a nice dude.
The fucking sound. Like, what? Prove me otherwise. Otherwise, you're just, I don't know. You're nobody.
But good for him, man. Good for him. He's made a living. He's made a living being.
Probably a good fucking living, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Especially as a full-time member. Come on. But then that also makes me think, like, dude, Dave is such a nice guy that there are six members in this band, like full-time members. Why have a full band like this? Have it just be you and like one other guy, maybe one other guy. Like, why do you need 6 official members? Why is this Rami guy an official member as of like 2017 or whatever? Why is Josh Freese an official member when Josh Freese is never an official member? He's rarely ever an official member. But you give this guy, I mean, it's well deserved. I mean, Josh Freese deserves everything he gets. But to have this essentially studio touring guy come in as a full-blown member of the Foo Fighters, I feel like it shows Dave's character, that he's that good of a guy, or he's overcompensating, dude. I don't know.
I do think because of how he has fired people in the past, and if
one guy,
it's business. It's business. If it's not working out, it's not fucking working out. But then the guy from Sunday Real Estate quit because Dave Grohl was like, true. You know what, dude? I don't like your drum parts. I'm really sorry. I'm just gonna do it myself. But that's a business decision. That's not a personal thing, right? Keep business and like personal separate. Like, I think Dave Grohl does a really good job at doing that. And so I think when these people are joining the band, like, Dave Grohl has to have some type of like fucking corporation ownership of this, and they're getting 1% to his 99%. Like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah,
he's just he's too smart like that. There's no way.
I think you're right too, because the Foo Fighters was the name was only created to make it seem to remove him from the Nirvana label back in the mid-90s. That was the only reason why he created the Foo Fighters name and essentially brand, was to set himself apart from Nirvana, because he wanted the anonymity. He didn't want to be known as Dave Grohl. He didn't want to know, oh, Dave Grohl, the drummer of Nirvana, started a new band. He wanted to have it be something completely separate. So I'm sure when he, I guess, incorporated the brand, he probably made it so, yeah, he's probably 99% owner of it. I mean, and also I'm sure he owns the rights to everything, considering he writes the music, the lyrics, and everything else. The other guys are essentially hired guns. Maybe not Taylor Hawkins, because Taylor Hawkins had something to do, at least with, arrangements.
I would think hired guns, but like well-paid hired guns. But for sure, like they're not expecting more than what Dave's going to give them, because it's probably going to be nothing, except for a fat paycheck.
Exactly. Or it's like I would imagine it like everybody gets 10% of everything, but Dave gets the other 50%.
Yeah, that would seem fair.
I would think that would seem fair too, because Dave literally does everything. He's the face of the band.
Well, yeah,
not Taylor Hawkins.
Obviously, Taylor Hawkins is not the face of the band because the band's still going, and Dave Grohl just fills in on drums and does better than Taylor did. Sorry.
Oh man. All right, so we have anything else on Nothing at All?
That's it. Nothing at all.
All right. So my my 1B, I don't know if you like the song. I'm really curious, but the Show Me How, the one he did with his daughter Violet.
Show Me How. So Show Me How, I don't think it's a banger. No, but really? I like what's happening here. I like what's happening here. This is one of the things where I like where your head's at. I like what you think you're trying to do. I don't quite agree with the execution, but I fucking love this song because, first of all, it's a nice break from like the barrage of like Dave Grohl vocals, like over the course of this week and a half, and just this album is just, God, I'm so over Dave Grohl's vocals, and this works because Dave isn't over the top with his like male part of the vocal harm. It's just kind of like the lower end, and he kind of like whisper singing a little bit. I think the drumming matches, like those hi-hat things, aren't super quick. Like Travis would do like super quick, those like 32 notes. But Dave Grohl's kind of slowing down a little bit.
32 notes.
Yeah, like the fucking, what 64th notes or 128th notes. So Travis would probably do. And I like the ambient guitar. I like the ambient guitar ringing chords out and just letting the lead guitar kind of do some noodle stuff with a lot of distortion on. So you're getting all of this contrast. And this song is just all about contrast. And I like that. Like musically, lyrically, I think it's a whole fucking new ballgame, which is super awesome. But like musically, I think this song is like all about contrast. I love it.
What I love about this song is that I agree with everything you just said. This is also one of the most experimental songs, if not the most experimental song they've ever done. Foo Fighters have ever done. Outside of the song White Limo, this song and White Limo, they've never done anything like them. Ever. Just with that, it's a fact. I love how he kind of took the full band out of it, like you said. The drumming, that groovy, it's a very kind of groove-driven drum part, which I feel like Taylor never accomplished. Like you hear it a lot on the first two Foo Fighters records, and you hear it a lot on this record. You hear a ton of groove. You hear a lot of little nuance to his playing, some jazzy little things, some bossa nova shit, which it's not one of my bangers, but there's some bossa nova stuff on here too that you don't hear on the Taylor stuff. That it just shows, man. Dave is such an incredible songwriter from a drumming standpoint. And this is also another one of the songs where Rami, the keyboardist, really shines too. The soundscapes that he adds to this song is just perfection. I love the soundscapes on this song. I love the stripped down guitars, like you had mentioned as well. The harmonizing between Dave's voice and his daughter Violet's voice, I think was perfect. Like it was the perfect amount of vocals between the two of them to where it was never too much. It was just absolutely perfect. It was enough harmonizing, enough lead parts from each of them. I think this is just an amazing song. I really, really think this is a top-notch Foo Fighters song. And this is another example. It's like, Dave's got it in him to do something not vanilla, because this song is not vanilla. Yeah. This is truly a nuanced, a truly kind of deeper, I don't want to say complex song because it's not a super complex song, but it's a more layered song than what we're used to hearing from Foo Fighters. Layered in the sense that you have multiple instruments going at once, not 5 guitars playing the same fucking rhythm part. There's just more going on here, and I love the layering of it all. I think it's a great song, and the lyrics, I feel, match that kind of there's like a nostalgic feel to it, and that's kind of what this is. He's reminiscing about his friend, also at the same time showing his insecurities about moving on without them. So the song is half and half, and I feel like kind of the melancholy feel of the song matches his feelings in the lyrics. That's why this song is also the best song on the record. The lyrics and the music match up perfectly, and it actually shows the sadness. The theme, it shows the real theme of the whole record on this specific song.
I don't disagree with you that this is the best song on the record. I think this is the best song on the record because, like, lyrically, this is fucking nuts, dude. This is like, I don't think I've ever heard any artist, any songwriter, any band ever do what he just did here. Like, I think this is so much about Dave dealing with his mom's passing, like the inevitability of it. But Dave's still lost, and he's upset that she's gone. Like, what am I supposed to fucking do? Like, what do I do now? But having his daughter on this track is like him kind of like still saving face, still saying that I need to progress on. I need to drive forward because somebody else is relying on me the way I relied on you. But now you're gone. I can't quite be mad at you right now because I'm too busy doing this thing. And like the best part of this fucking song is at the very end when it's just Violet singing by herself. And like that, to me, I heard that. And I was like, dude, this is like, no one's ever done this. This is like Dave. This is really fucked up and sad, but this is like Dave telling his daughter, like, I'm going to be dead one day too. And you were going to be on your own. It is. It's so fucking sad.
It is. But it's honest.
It's honest. It's fucking brutally honest. And I swear, I don't think anybody has ever done a song like this.
I don't think so either, because
wrong. I fucking just don't think anyone's ever done this.
Because not a lot of people do these kind of duets with somebody so close, like a family member, like a father-daughter, father-son, or whatever. They're those kind of duets don't really exist, like in a real kind of honest way. And the song is all honest, because what I love about the song too is that it's his daughter also, because she's younger. I think she was 17. She's 17 or 18 or something like that. So she's going through her adolescence. She loses her grandmother. She loses Taylor too, because I mean, I'm sure Taylor was like a father figure to her.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
So her emotions almost like mimic what Dave is feeling too. Maybe a little bit, obviously a little bit differently, but the emotions are still there. And I feel like this song is not only a kind of a closure for Dave, but also for her. And to be able to share that experience with her own father must have been very just amazing for her. Very just something that most people wouldn't feel or have that kind of connection with their father. And to do it in such a what's the word I'm trying to say? Such a personal way. And that's what makes the song, I feel, what makes the song just absolutely amazing. Because they're both going through the same thing.
Dude, this one nobody can understand. Definitely hit harder than everything else, because I do see like leaning on like family and people that are your age, in your age group, and friends and whatever. When like a family member dies, like that's one thing. But then when you lean on your child to get through like the tough times, like, like Dave leaned on his kids, right? Like when Taylor died, his mom died. But like people that have not gone through such a horrific death in the family, maybe you just don't know. And it's like, why would you lean on your kids? Like the kids, that's not their fucking responsibility. It's like, well, because I don't know what else to do. That's just what I did. And like this one did resonate a little bit harder, because like I do know what it's like to lean on like children because of what I am going through. And so when he did that last verse, when it's just her, oh baby boy, that was good. That was good. Because it was just like, damn, dude, he's straight telling her like, I'm going to die one day, but not now, but I'm going to die one day. And that's some brutally honest shit. And that's
what people need to hear.
Chilling.
Yeah, man. Look at
these goosebumps. You can't see them. Look at these fucking goosebumps right here.
Oh, I can see them. I can see them from over here.
Oh my God.
From over here.
That's good shit right there.
It really is. And that's why this song is my number one. This is why it's the biggest banger. And this is the only song I would playlist off the whole record. I wouldn't put it like on like an alt rock kind of playlist, but I would put this on like kind of just a softer kind of playlist. I mean, it's a really, even taking the lyrical context out of it, it's a really good song. It's a really, really good song. But
dude, I'm hard pressed to think of a song where like the writer of the song kind of like leans on their kid to help them through a tough time. Like parents are supposed to be like this fucking
this rock. They're the ones.
Actually, friend of the pod, one of our friends from high school just had a baby, and then he was texting me, and he was like, "What do we do?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know." Like, what do you mean? What do I do? Like, we thought our parents like knew what they were doing when we were growing up. They didn't know what the fuck they're doing. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, you just pretend like you do. You put on a smile and you say, "Yeah, everything's gonna be okay," and then you go to bed and you stay up all night and you worry and you bite your fingernails and you don't fucking sleep and you drink a lot. That's that's what you do.
Yeah.
And so when Dave Grohl hears leaning on his kid, it's so fucking.
It's so
God, I fucking hate the Foo Fighters so fucking much. I know. Dude. God, I hate them so much.
But then he pulls shit like this. Ever. He pulls shit like this. That it makes you love him again. Like,
why are you the way that you are?
Yeah,
I don't understand it. All right. Anyway, 0-2.
0-2. Yeah. Oh, I took a big gulp. Oh man, excuse me.
Do you have a big gulp, or did you just take a big gulp?
I took a big gulp. I don't have a big gulp. Big gulps, huh?
That's right. Well, see you later.
Man, it's perfect. All right. So, what's your? Oh, your 2B was Rest.
Yeah, I don't have any more B's. There's songs I think that are parts of it I love, like Show Me How, The Teacher. There are parts of that I love. Some of the other songs too, there are parts of it I love. It's just as a whole, I don't really like any of the other songs enough to playlist at least.
Yeah, I get it. I really, because I mean, honestly, I wouldn't, outside of Show Me How, I wouldn't playlist any of the other songs. My 2B is But Here We Are, but it's mainly because of Dave's drums. I mean, this is really where he churches it up. This is one of the few songs where he churches it up on the record. Wait, did we already talk about But Who We Are?
We did not.
No, we didn't. Oh, there it is.
Nope.
Sorry, yeah. So this is one of the few times where he does church it up on the record, but it's busy, but it's not Travis Barker busy. It's not YouTube drummer busy. It's the perfect amount of busy to go along with the song, to make these build-ups into something, even sometimes when there is nothing to build up to. It's still enough of a build-up to where, which the Foo Fighters actually do a lot on this record, which is annoying.
Dude, this song was particular.
But it's still good because the drumming is so good. The parts are so they're very unique to Dave. Like, he's not just doing simple kind of fills going in and out of, different verses and choruses and bridges and all that kind of shit. He really he just has a way of writing a song from a drummer's perspective. Like, he's just a fucking amazing drummer. I fucking love the guy. Really though, the chorus, it's lackluster. It's more of a ballad kind of thing that he's going for. It has some screaming in it, but that's not the highlight of it. It's really the drumming. It has that bossa nova feel. This is the bossa nova song I was kind of talking about.
Yeah, there's little diddlies there.
Yeah, like really, it's the percussion. It's not like the drum kit. It's more the percussion that's kind of bossa nova. Has that bossa nova feel. Kind of fuzzy guitars through parts of it, but the rhythm section is also super locked in. The way that Nate and Dave are playing off of each other, are playing with not playing off of each other, but playing with each other. I've never heard the rhythm section so locked in on any Foo Fighters song outside of maybe Everlong, but that doesn't really count because that's just all Dave. I've never heard the rhythm section so tight. It's never been as tight as this song. It's really, really, really good.
This song, dude, it's that staccato fucking guitar riff, man. That thing wore on me, and I got so irritated with it. But the intro reminded me of like Green Era Weezer for a minute.
Oh, okay.
That was very reminiscent of that. Lover in the Snow, actually specifically a Weezer song from the Green Era / Pinkerton era. It sounds very much like the intro to the song. But it's fine.
It's a good one. It's really, like I said, it's his drums. This is the only time lyrically where I felt he talks about faith, his own faith. He's questioning, why should I believe in anything when like two of my closest confidants, my two best friends are gone. They've died especially more specifically Taylor. He's died so young. Why should I have faith in anything? He actually questions that, not religion specifically, but just his faith. And that's the only time I've seen him talk about it on this record, which I thought was,
he's definitely bitter on this one. Like, I feel like he's definitely bitter because he opens up with saying like, save your charms, right? That line like alludes to religion or just any superstition in general, where people like are bargaining for someone's life, right?
Well, it's like charms could also go hand in hand with prayer or whatever it may be. It's a form of like a charm, kind of, right?
Or charm, just you're trying to charm God, right?
Yeah,
oh, please don't let him die. I'll quit smoking. I'll stop doing this. You know what I mean? Like you're putting these things on. It's like, come on, man. Like if God was real, you think he can't see through that bullshit? Come on. Or she.
I mean,
Dogma.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know, but like ultimately the person's
speaking
gonna
of
die
Dogma, Alanis Morissette, Taylor Hawkins.
Hmm?
Yeah. Yeah.
Alanis Morissette, probably the greatest artist of all time.
Alanis Morissette?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, dude.
I'm just saying.
All right. But here we are. We're talking about Foo Fighters. Do we have anything else on this song?
You would know you. No, that's it. Stupid fucking Alanis Morissette and her stupid ass music. So terrible. I don't care.
So, I mean, the only other song that I thought was banger was The Teacher, which is the prog song, I guess you could say. The 10 and a half minute song.
It's a prog song and what it tries to do, but it's not a fucking prog song. It tries, I get it. It tries to, but it's like,
there in theory.
Bro.
It's there in theory.
Like, you've done this better. Fucking
I don't know if he's
10
done it
minutes
better.
long. They did do it better.
On what?
Did you leave again?
You do it better. No,
the song from Sonic Highways, the song Outside. I talk about in the rankings,
yeah.
where it sounds like the fucking chain. That song was 7.5 minutes. And had an amazing interlude that was very reminiscent of the Chain by Fleetwood Mac.
Or what he did. Or what's the song he did a few years ago with Trent? Was it Trent Reznor? He did that like 25-minute song, that improv song.
That's already annoying. I'm already annoyed just with.
But you loved it. We talked about it on the pod years ago.
I'm even more annoyed that I loved it than.
No, it was like, and it was like a video too. Like he recorded himself. And I think what it was, he was essentially recording loops of himself. I think that's what it was. Like he would go up to the kit, play for a little bit, and it would be looped. And then he'd go and pick up like a guitar, do like a loop of that, bass, so on and so forth. And then he would go back and then do the drums again. I think it was something like that. And it's called, and I think Trent Reznor was involved, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just.
I think I know what you're talking about. No, hold on there, dude.
But it's a whole video.
Talking about. I think it was Grohl, Trent Reznor, and there was somebody else there too that was doing.
Was it Josh Homme? It might have been Josh Homme.
That sounds right.
I can't remember, but it was.
But
really
it was like
cool.
it was like an 8-minute song. Like it was.
I think it was longer than that.
8-10 minutes. That's
see,
tops. I don't think it was longer than 10 minutes.
Prog song. Hold on. Let's see here. Oh, it's just called Play. It's called Play. It's 22. It's 22 minutes and 15 seconds long.
Damn, that's a long fucking song.
Yeah. But yeah, he plays all the music on it. But I don't remember if. Rolling Stone says Dave Grohl unveils his one-man prog rock odyssey, Play, from 2018. So, yeah, there's even a wiki for it. No, I guess. No, it's just Dave Grohl. He plays everything
Dave
on
Grohl.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what's weird? I did see this at a record store last week, but I'm pretty sure it was a bootleg. I don't think this was ever officially released on vinyl, but yeah, I did see this. I did see this at a record store recently. But anyway, I need to check it out again because I remember when I watched it the first time, I was really kind of blown away by it.
I'm curious.
Yeah, but anyway,
it has been released.
On vinyl?
On vinyl, yeah, officially.
Oh, it's real. Oh shit! I thought it was a boot.
It's it's just a single. It's one-sided, 12-inch single. Yeah, like $10.
They fit 23 minutes. They fit 23 minutes on one side.
Dude, Master of Puppets is like an hour long almost. They put that on one.
Oh
fucking
yeah,
record.
I suppose. Even like the Good President Master, it's only one. It's only one LP.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right.
Cram all that fucking noise in there.
Well, it's better that a song like this is on one LP, is on one side than having to flip it.
That's true.
Which can be annoying. But anyway, 0-2.
Yeah. The Teacher.
The Teacher, yes. And so this was not even a banger for you, right? Because
there's just, come on, dude. Like, it's just so many different songs. It's like 3 different songs here, and like there are parts of it that are really cool. Like, I like the simple acoustic guitar-driven tone of it all. Mm-hmm. It's just too fucking long. I think it loses some of its effectiveness because of its length. Like, the novelty of it wears off. I don't care anymore.
There's a middle part that's about a minute long where it actually does pick up. It becomes like more of a punk song.
Yeah.
But then it just kind of
the wake up part.
Yeah, and he's just kind of repeating the lyrics, but then it kind of just drops back into what he was doing in the first part. Like the first 4.5 minutes is just like one. It's like a normal song that would be on this record. Nothing too crazy or anything like that. I do like some of his drumming because it's a little bit faster paced. It's a little bit more punky in the first part, the first 4.5 minutes. But normally when people play like this, especially when Taylor Hawkins would play these kind of tempos, he would use a lot of open hi-hats or either that or the ride to kind of fill in space. But the way Dave was playing it, he was playing with the closed hi-hat, so you could really let kind of all the other instruments kind of breathe, and it wasn't this wall of sound. And that really stuck out to me because that's what's needed on this song and with the Foo Fighters. You don't need this fucking wall of sound.
No.
The drummer can very easily dictate how a song sounds overall just by something as simple as closing a hi-hat when you're playing. I mean, it's astonishing how much different a song could sound just by changing that part of it. But so I wanted to point that out because I thought that was just incredible because it was so simple and so stupid. But then the last part of it kind of goes back to to the first part, but makes it more ethereal, kind of more airy sounding. But nothing really stands out outside of that drum thing that I just mentioned.
I just feel like if you're going to make a 10-minute song, especially as a band that does not make 10-minute songs, if you're going to do something like this, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you making a 10-minute song? And yeah, that interlude part, it bridged the two different things together well enough. But again, it's just like, why? For what purpose? What did this add? Why did you need to do this instead of just making this two different songs? I don't think anything added to like the overall ambiance of the 10-minute song. I think they could have just chopped it up into, honestly, 1 2-minute song and it would have been fine. Didn't add anything. It's why? For what reason?
I agree with you on that. I would compare it to kind of like Jesus of Suburbia from Green Day's American Idiot. But, I mean, I hate saying it because I really don't like that song. But that song is better than this.
Oh, for sure it is.
It is better. And it's not a good song. Jesus of Suburbia is not a good song.
American Idiot is better than every fucking Foo Fighters album that's ever been released.
Well...
It's just the fact that you're not even, and you fucking hate, you don't even like American Idiot.
I really don't like American Idiot.
And the fact that you're not even like fighting that instantaneously is just like, that's how, that's how stupid the Foo Fighters are, dude.
I'm gonna stew on that and I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you on that one. But yeah, Jesus of Suburbia is a better song than this prog song.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what's weird? Like anytime I hear a band do anything prog that they wouldn't normally ever do, it always brings me back to that Queen song that they did on what was the Queen record we did? What was it?
What did we do? I don't remember.
No, we did Night at the Opera. I think we did a Night at the Opera, right?
Did we?
I think that was the one we did. But that song had a prog song on it. Remember, like an 11-minute prog song. And it was incredible. It was fucking amazing.
I can't believe you did Night at the Opera.
I think we did. Or, was it Off to the Races? What's the other one?
Night at the Opera has a lot of like cool prog song, like besides Bohemian, which is like a 6-minute song.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but the Prophet song, that song's like 8 or 9 minutes.
Maybe that's the song I was thinking of.
We did that.
I'm pretty sure. I know we didn't do jazz. We for sure didn't do jazz.
We probably did Night at the Opera because of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why we did it. But yeah, there was one particular prog song that had that very kind of Lord of the Rings feel to it. That just kind of blew me away. Just absolutely blew me away that I never knew Queen would do. So anytime I hear a band do a prog song that wouldn't normally do it, I always immediately think of that Queen song and how cool it was. And then I compare it to that Queen song, a band that doesn't make prog songs for the most part.
That was their longest song they've ever done. The Prophet song was the longest song they've ever done.
And look how fucking amazing that song was.
Oh, it's a good song.
Why can't they be like Queen and make a great prog song? Anyway, I don't know. Okay. Complete stupid tangent, but I don't know. Do we have anything else on this record? It's such a lackluster record, man. I want to talk about it more, but this is like so little to talk about here. I mean, outside of if you take out Taylor's death and his mom's death, dude, there's nothing here. There's fucking nothing here. Really.
And honestly, like you're right. I guess this will go into my wrap up. Unless you have something else, I can transition this into my wrap up.
I got nothing.
If you honestly just played this record through and through without any vocals to it, I would not get the same feeling as I do having read the lyrics and understanding what is happening. And that's telling just of a good songwriter overall. That's just something Dave Grohl just has trouble doing, even on a record like this, to where it's, again, like death is low-hanging fruit because it happens so fucking much, just like politics. Like it's just low-hanging fruit. And I just don't think I don't think he can. I kind of hate this record less even now just thinking about that. I don't know. I don't think the message is conveyed in a way that's cohesive. Even though I said contrary earlier, now that we've gone over it, I think that's even worse. Man, I really hate talking shit on this band. I really do.
I know, I do too.
I feel bad. I feel bad. Like I'm looking down, like kicking sand. You know what I mean? Like, oh, come on, man.
Kicking the rocks in the sidewalk, you know?
I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I just don't think this
Hands
band
in
is
your
very
pockets.
good. You know, here's like the Foo Fighters. Here's what the Foo Fighters are like. The Foo Fighters, like, you go to a restaurant and everyone's like hyping up these burgers, and the burgers are fucking the best at this restaurant. You should go check it out. You get this burger, and like the bun's fucking huge, and like there's a big old piece of tomato in there, and like the lettuce looks fresh, but the meat, it's like a tiny little puck. It's a teeny tiny little puck, and you bite into it, and it's just like, wow, that's all filler. It's still fine. Like it's good, but that's all filler. That's the Foo Fighters. That sucks.
It's a good way. That's a good way of it's a good metaphor.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like this album anymore. I thought I did. I don't like it anymore. It's just not very, because if you took out like the lyrics, right? If you just had like him just singing Watermelon the whole time, the feeling would be completely fucking different. I don't get the feeling of sadness and loss based off of what he's singing, how he's singing.
Except
it's
for
just not.
Show the one with his daughter.
But even
that's
then,
the only song.
At best, like he could have just been doing like a duet with his daughter, and it could have been cute. They could have been talking about Strawberry Shortcake and My Little Pony. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah.
But man, just gotta do better, Dave. Gotta do better.
Yeah.
This late in the game, I don't know, man.
Wait, hold on one sec.
Oh.
What is going on? What?
Uh-oh.
Why is there a lizard in here?
They just got a lizard.
Who did?
The house.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Why?
Brooke wants to return it.
Return a lizard?
You bought the lizard and she wants to take it back?
No.
What are you talking about?
You don't take lizards back. You don't take lizards back. You can't take a lizard back.
I don't care.
You can't take a lizard back. Oh God.
It's like
That's
fucking
good.
bedlam here.
That's good. You can't take a lizard. You buy a lizard, it's your lizard. You don't take a lizard back.
That's what I thought too, but then they've been trying to catch this lizard outside, and then it got away, and then it appeared in the house somehow.
How big is this fucking lizard?
It's small. It's like fucking 3-4 inches long.
Then how do they know it's even the same lizard?
I don't know.
Oh God, that
Man.
was good. That was good. That was good. Yeah, I don't. You should listen to this once. So I'm not going to give this below a 1
Okay.
on our ranking system, but it's not going to be a 2 or above. It's just not. It's not that good. It's not that thought out. Man, it sounds so bad, but it's kind of like if Dave Grohl wasn't the dude that he was, this would seem like a cash grab. It would seem like something that was put out to capitalize on like a loss, and that sounds fucked up to say, but it's just not that good, dude. It's just really fucking not.
Yeah. Like, okay, so my little wrap up here. I really don't like talking shit on Dave Grohl because he is one of the greatest drummers of all time, one of the greatest songwriters in that sense of all time.
He's one of the greatest frontmen of all time.
One of the greatest frontmen of all time because he is an amazing frontman because we've seen them multiple times and they put on an amazing show. But their music, at best, is good. At best, it's good. And this record goes along with that. It's one of their worst records they put out. It's one of the most boring. And like you said, like we've said, you take out the context of Taylor Hawkins' death and his mom's death. It is just talk about vanilla, man.
It might be their worst. It might be the worst if you take those out.
Exactly. Musically, songwriting wise, God. Well, musically it's better than it is songwriting wise because Dave plays drums on it and his drumming is pretty fucking great on it. Where was I? I was about to go somewhere with this, but totally forgot. But it doesn't matter. I was probably going to say something mean.
I know it's always going to be mean, and then you're going to feel bad about saying it.
I know. Exactly. So we have our world famous 3-point rating system where 3 is a perfect album. 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to. 1 is a bad album, give it a shot. And 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So you gave this a 1, right?
I'm going to give it a 1.25, honestly.
That's what I give it too. I give it a 1.25 as well because the one song, Show Me How, is really good. That's the only standout track. Otherwise, it would be a 1 because, dude, you got to hear it once just in the context of the band's history. You got to hear it at least once. Or you should hear it at least once. But yeah, overall, the album is very, very lackluster, completely disappointing. And I already had low expectations for this record. And it still dipped below those expectations. Which just sucks, man. It
That's so bad.
Yeah, it really, it's unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know. 1.25 for both of us on this record. And it wasn't a bad week. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about the band. We learned a lot about ourselves.
Dude, I didn't know Dave Grohl released a cassette tape while he was in Nirvana.
Yeah.
What the fuck? We didn't talk about that during the Nirvana episode.
We didn't. I mean, I don't think it wasn't really relevant.
I don't know. I was blown away.
Well, we had so many other things to talk about.
That's
I mean,
true.
Nirvana's lore is way, way deeper than anything Foo Fighters have ever done. So, I mean, we talked about Dave Grohl a lot, but not his extracurriculars. We talked more about Kurt. We didn't even really talk about extracurriculars when it came to Nirvana.
You're right. There was no fucking time. Like there was so much to talk about without.
There was way too much. Yeah. With Nevermind and In Utero, both of those records are just so much info. But no, yeah, he put out that cassette demo as, what was it called? Last or something? What was that?
Like Stand or Last, something with an exclamation point.
I can't remember right now. But then like cool. Marigold off of that was one of the B-sides for on Heart-Shaped. I think it was Heart-Shaped Box. It was the B-side to Heart-Shaped Box.
Yeah.
It's the only song that Dave ever sang lead on in the band, and it's a fucking cool song. I love Marigold. Marigold is a great song.
And from what I read, like Dave was apprehensive about doing songs and like singing and writing stuff, but every time he talked about obviously this is just one side of the story, but every time he talked about when Kurt would hear him sing songs, Kurt was so like enthusiastic about it and like welcoming and like pushing him to pursue like his music writing.
Yeah,
and again, that's the one-sided, but like that's fucking cool, man. Like there's still got to be some like residual guilt from like the Kurt Cobain like death from Dave Grohl. Still to this day, there has to be. I'm sure.
God, it would have been so. I mean, there could have been so many things that happened had Kurt not died. But hearing more of a collaboration between Kurt and Dave could have been something that could have transcended what we know as Nirvana now.
Yeah.
Like really, because Dave does have those pop sensibilities. He does have them. Not as good as Kurt, but they're there. And if he could have added more, if he could have added a different side, a different flavor to what Kurt was doing, it could have been something truly special. God, it could have been fucking cool. It could have been really cool. Because honestly, based off of the 2 acoustic songs, Everlong and Times Like These, based off of those 2 acoustic songs, those songs are better than the straight up acoustic songs that Kurt did. And I'll say it.
I don't, especially with Everlong, and I love Times Like These.
Yeah.
Because it's just so accessible. It's so poppy. It's so bare bones. It's like 3 fucking chords, dude, like CFG and shit. It's just easy stuff.
But because we know Dave has the chops. He could do it because of those, especially Everlong. Everlong is the perfect example. He has the chops to create a perfect pop rock song. It's there.
Yeah.
But he has no one to push him. Nobody to push him. Nobody wants to push him. And had Kurt been more involved, had Kurt not died, obviously, and been more involved with pushing Dave into doing stuff, I feel like we could have had Everlong plus more and better.
I think that's
I really, really think so.
I think what you said is like the perfect representation of why Foo Fighters are just not good. Is that nobody pushes Dave Grohl to be better.
Because he's too nice. I feel like people don't want to offend him because he's too nice.
And even today, I feel bad.
I know. We've never met. Well, no, I've never met him. But
Might just delete this episode because we feel bad.
I know we're gonna have to put a disclaimer at the beginning and then put a disclaimer in the show notes saying we really do love Dave Grohl. So what we're saying we feel bad about, like as just a disclaimer up front.
Have to.
It's
That's true. Like nobody's there to push Dave Grohl to be better. And I think that's why he's fallen into mediocrity.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know, Jerry. Do you have anything else?
0-2. Here we go.
1.25. That's what we both rank this record, really, in Foo Fighters in general. So, yeah. Thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places. Give us 5 stars. Tell all your friends because we're the best. And that's it. That's all.
Pittsburgh. They're from Warminster? Warminster? That's stupid. I don't like that name. Do you want to hear the full name of the album?
Oh, that's not the full name?
No. The full name is Petro Dragonic Apocalypse, or Dawn of Eternal Night, an annihilation of planet Earth and the beginning of merciless damnation.
Of course it is. Of course it is. The album art's really cool, though. We're talking about Foo Fighters. Do we have anything else on this song?
Know you. No, that's it. Stupid fucking Alanis Morissette. That is stupid ass music. So terrible.